What's up, everybody? I've been meaning to put out a video of like the interrogation tapes of the informant that set me up in my discovery. You know, I've got these CD-ROM discs of like you know the guy E being interrogated by the Secret Service and him explaining the whole operation and this and that. So I need to find a CD-ROM drive because I've got a MacBook, so I can't put a disc in it. So I need to get like an external CD-ROM drive or whatever. And I even went to the library, the public library, to see, but they don't have their computers don't have CD-ROMs either. So once I can get a hold of a CD-ROM drive, I'm gonna go to like Best Buy soon, look to buy one, whatever. But I was gonna post a video of I've got, there's like discs, on those discs there's like surveillance footage of me and my wife breaking bills at certain stores or whatever, and the audio tapes of the interrogation of E, the informant that set me up. So once I can get a hold of that CD-ROM drive, I'm gonna upload the files and, you know, post them or whatever, just because fuck that guy E. He's still, I believe he's in USP Atlanta right now, because they wrapped him up in his drug conspiracy too. But either way, yeah, I was going through the discovery from my case, so figured I'd just post a little video kind of going through it if you all want to see. But yeah, here's files they took off of my laptop of different photos I was taking of different parts of the bill so I could edit them all together. And just kind of a list of, you know, different files as far as, like, it says rear one background color, so I had one file that was just the background color of the bill. And then, you know, as you see, it says whole image new and whole image new because I was constantly editing the files to make them better. So once I'd edit a file, sharpen the image, you know, mess with the opacity or contrast or whatever, and once I got it, you know, better than before, I would, you know, resave the file. So I had multiple different files on the computer. This is the victim list of different businesses that I spent, you know, personally spent $100 bills, counterfeit $100 bills at. And, you know, they're in alphabetical order, but this whole packet is, you know, front and back, different businesses that I, you know, spent $100 bills at. Most of them I just spent one fake $100 bill at and never went back. As you can see, certain stores or whatever is just like $100 bills. One, you know, some of them are, you know, 1,100. Let's see. Those are just all 100. There's like I spent 300 at some CVS. Let's see, 500 at a Dollar General off Broadway in Knoxville. 400. I went to a lot of Dollar Generals, as you can see. This, you know, these Dollar Generals kind of start here and go this whole page. But usually it was like 500 bucks at one, 300 at another, 400, 500, you know, 500, whatever. Just trying to mix it up and go to different stores without being too greedy and hitting them for too much. You know, here's more Dollar Generals. But again, you know, most of them are hundreds, but some stores I'd spend 500, 300. You know, like, I'm not sure what that is. 1,400 bucks at some bank. 600 at a Family Dollar. But I spent, I guess, 1,200 at the Kroger off Chapman Highway in South Knoxville. Whatever that is. 5,400 at some some stores, probably getting a money order, a few money orders or whatever. So yeah, I'd basically go to a store for like, spend a few $100, go back, spend another few $100, send some girl in there to spend some more, and then try to hit them within like a few day period, and then try to not go back. So there's a lot of these just traveling around, just spending $100 bills at random stores, but yeah, this is all the money I have to pay back, though. All this is the victim list for my restitution. So all of these figures are what I have to pay the federal government back. As you can see, I got Walmart for quite a bit. You know, Chattanooga, it's like 700 at one Walmart. 900, 800, 1100, 1100, 700, 600, 1500, 2400 at the Walmart in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, there were certain stores that I preferred going to. This is the bolo that was released on me and my wife, the Be on the Lookout. We went to the University Commons. It's like this gift store at the University of Tennessee campus. And I think I bought my wife some like throw blanket, some fuzzy blanket or something, and used a $100 bill. And yeah, that was kind of the first time that I spent 100. That kind of started the investigation directly on me. At this point, they didn't know my name, but they had this picture, this surveillance photo of me, and yeah, this was kind of the beginning of the end for me. As you can see, it says on February 1st, 2019, at about 1700 hours, suspects entered the Vol Shop Commons, and the white male purchased goods with a counterfeit $100 bill. Please attempt to identify, trespass, and notify investigations should contact evade. But yeah, there's the bolo that was in my discovery, and there's my wife, my ex-wife, and there's in my discovery there was also I guess I suppose this is an email from the special agent in Cleveland, Ohio, when they brought E from Cleveland to Knoxville to set me up. I guess he was communicating with the Knoxville branch of the Secret Service and letting them know the situation. As you can see, it says, let's see, here's some information Special Agent Williamson and McLaughlin gathered last night from the subject. They have more information they gather today and will update the information while traveling to Knoxville, Tennessee. It says, last Saturday, April 27th, a trooper from the Ohio State Highway Patrol stopped a vehicle for a speeding violation on Interstate 71 in Ashland County. The driver was identified as Emmanuel Vaught of Cleveland. He was subsequently placed under arrest for possession of a stolen vehicle and driving under suspension. He was incarcerated at the Ashland County Jail. During a search of the vehicle, troopers found 3 separate quantities of U.S. currency in the passenger compartment. The total amount of U.S. dollars between all 3 containers envelopes was $14,000. The money was seized as evidence and later transported to the bank. Once at the bank, the bills were sorted and counted. The bank processed the U.S. dollars and returned 3,400 in counterfeit $100 bills to the troopers. At this time, the Ohio State Highway Patrol investigator Ryan Hershey became involved. On Tuesday, April 30th, Kevin and I accompanied Trooper Hershey to Ashland County Jail to interview Mr. Vaught. I sat in as Trooper Hershey interviewed Vaught, primarily about the stolen vehicle. When he was finished, I spoke to Kevin to bring him up to speed, and then we began our interview. Kevin began explaining that we were federal agents and that lying to us was a crime. During our interview, Mr. Vaught admitted to many things that he had previously denied in response to questioning by Trooper Hershey. Some of his admissions were all the money in the vehicle was his. And then it goes on to say he had knowingly received the counterfeit U.S. dollars from his contact in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he intended to sell it to a known buyer in Cleveland for $2,000. He admitted to using approximately $10,000 in counterfeit over the past year. He had at one time requested $50,000 in counterfeit from his supplier. He claims that at that time his supplier could not get a hold of that much paper. Which, yeah, that's true. He asked me for more than $50,000, but he wanted so much so quick that I just couldn't acquire the Bible paper that quickly. So, yeah, I mean, I tried to only sell like 5 to 10,000 at a time, just for the sake of, you know, if I were to sell somebody 10 grand, it would take me all day to, you know, to manufacture the 10,000 plus acquiring the Bible paper. Plus, I was spending these bills myself, so I wanted to, you know, I didn't want to sell them all to other people for, 25% of their face value when I could spend them myself and get 100%. So, but yeah, basically, he definitely asked for more than 50,000. But it's true that, I told him I think he wanted like 100,000 or $1 million at first or something, and I was like, listen, bro, that's just not reasonable, because I have to acquire the Bible paper, and it would take me weeks and weeks and weeks to manufacture $1 million worth or whatever. But nonetheless, it says his supplier lives in a house that Mr. Vaught owns in Knoxville, and it contains the laptop and printer that he uses to produce the counterfeit. E and I were renting a house together at that time, so let's see. He says he admitted to being a drug dealer, dealing in heroin, cocaine, ice, pills, marijuana, and earning approximately $600,000 per year. He sells drugs primarily in Tennessee. He travels back and forth from Cleveland to Knoxville regularly. He uses the proceeds to help his mother purchase real estate around Cleveland that she can rent out as a landlord. He flips cars, motorcycles, four-wheelers, and anything else he can in the Cleveland area. When we finished questioning, Mr. Vaught agreed to cooperate. He was not promised anything, but was assured that we would tell the prosecutor that he was cooperative with the investigation. Furthermore, he has agreed to perform an undercover buy and provide intel on the interior of the target house. Mr. Vaught has identified the producer of the counterfeit by name, given us the address and description of the house. He stated that we will find a laptop and printer, counterfeit bills, and at least 1 kilo of drugs or more in the residence. And that is from Nathan McLaughlin, Special Agent, U.S. Secret Service at the Cleveland Field Office. And he was emailing this to my arresting officer, which was Gregory Watson, the Special Agent of Knoxville Secret Service. So I met this guy E through a friend of mine. This girl, I'll call her K, because I don't want to say anybody's names except for that guy E who set me up, because I owe him nothing. This girl K, she was kind of an addict herself. She's a hustling bitch, man. She knew a bunch of drug dealers and would just kind of middleman. You know, if you needed dope, she knew where to get it. She'd link it up and take a little profit for herself or whatever. So one day I call her to get a couple grams from one of her people, and she basically, like, I ripped off this dude through her. She didn't know the bills were fake at first. Me and the dealer both pulled up in the parking lot. She was already at the parking lot. She came over, got my money, got the dope, brought me back the dope, and we all left. All good. I think I gave her like $200 in fake 20s at the time. But at first, I wasn't putting strips and watermarks in them or anything, so they looked really good at face value. But if you they marked with a pen, all that, but if you held them up, they didn't have strips and watermarks because it was so much of a process to glue two pieces together just for 20 bucks. So I'd just print them out, spray them with lacquer, touch up the color shifting ink, and then go rip off drug dealers with fake 20s. So I get this dude through Kay, this girl Kay, and you know, the next day she calls me like, oh, what the fuck, you know, that money was fake. My dealer called me all pissed off or whatever. But I knew that she was an addict herself, and like I said, she's a hustling bitch. So I basically was straight up with her. I told her, I was like, listen, of course the bills were fake. Of course I knew that they were fake. If you have any other dealers that you don't care to do it, we can do that same arrangement. That way, if they do find out they're fake, they call you complaining, you can say, oh, it was for this other guy. You know what I'm saying? She was just a middleman. It wouldn't really fall on her, and I'd just be the mystery man that used fake money or whatever. So we had this arrangement, and we started getting all her contacts, basically. You know, pretty much every day we'd get a different dude, some dealer she knew. You know, we'd get him for whatever, $200-300 worth of dope. Some of the guys found out the bills were fake, called her and complained. Some of the guys didn't even find out that they were fake, whatever. But we had this little system going where we were ripping off all these drug dealers through her and with my money. So one day she called me and basically said, I met this new guy from Cleveland, Ohio, and he's got really good gray, like they call it gray gravel, which is just the type of like fentanyl, basically. But it was really strong. She basically told me I can get this stuff from this new contact I made, but I don't want to rip him off because the bills or the dope is really good. So I was like, okay, well, you know, let me try some of it. So she basically just called him to get permission for her to give me his number, and he agreed because she vouched for me, whatever. And then she gave me this dude's number, so I call him and basically meet up with him one time. I buy a couple grams of heroin from him with real money, and before he walked away from my car, I basically wanted to kind of plant the seed that I had counterfeit bills for sale. So I basically told him, like, hey, just so you know, I showed him one. I was like, you can keep that as a sample or whatever. I can get, you know, high quality counterfeit bills if you or any of your people are interested or whatever. So he, and I'm glad I didn't try to get him because I thought about doing it at first, but I didn't. And, you know, when I gave him this sample 100, he was like, oh yeah, Kate warned me about you, the counterfeit shit. So, you know, I'm glad I didn't try and get him because he was tipped off by this girl. But nonetheless, she warned me not to rip him off. It was all good. So anyway, I started doing business with this guy, buying heroin from him with real money pretty consistently. And he knew that, I don't think he knew that I was actually manufacturing the counterfeit bills, but he knew that that was my business, was counterfeit money. So we started doing business together for about a month. One day he asks me for a ride to Sevierville, which is like a tourist trap town right outside of Gatlinburg, about 45 minutes outside of Knoxville. He basically calls me one day, asks me if I can drive him up to Sevierville. I say, yeah, that's fine. We go. He goes and picks up a machine gun, like a Mac 11, I think. And then a couple days later, he's going to Cleveland to re-up. He tells me, he's like, I'm going to leave my phone with my cousin. So you still call the number if you need anything, but it's not going to be me, it's going to be my cousin. So I was like, okay, that's fine. He goes up to Cleveland to re-up. just so happens that I guess he gets caught with the machine gun up in Cleveland and goes to jail. So now I'm dealing down in Knoxville. I'm dealing with his cousin, who has the same phone. They just kicked the phone from one person to the other. So, but I start dealing with this other guy. So we start doing business together, and maybe for a month. But eventually this other guy does something to piss me off or whatever. I don't remember exactly what. I think he probably, like, I was waiting somewhere to meet up with him, and he was doing the, oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes thing. 20 minutes later, I'll be there in 5 minutes. 20 more minutes later, like, he made me wait too long. It pissed me off, so I was like, all right, fuck this guy. I'm gonna rip him off. So, you know, I call him one last time. He's like, oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm like, whatever. But instead of wanting those 2 grams, you know, let me get a half ounce of heroin. You know, I don't talk like that over the phone, but nonetheless, I'll be like, hey, change it to a half. You know, so he comes, and I give him all these fake hundreds. He gives me a sack of dope. I give him the fake money. We part ways. And I just stopped answering his phone calls after that. So, yeah. So I, you know, went on about my life. About 2 months after that, the girl Kay, that originally linked me up with this group, calls me and is like, hey, that dude that you ripped off, he went back to Cleveland and he left the phone to his brother. So you could probably call him again if you needed that gray gravel dope. So now E has the phone. And so the original girl that linked me up with this group, Kay, we start renting a house together. Like, me and my wife and kids and this girl and her boyfriend all share this house. So now that E has the phone, I was a little hesitant to call him, because I was afraid that maybe his brother warned him, like, hey, this guy ripped me off with counterfeit money or whatever. So, living with the girl Kay, I would have her, you know, middleman the deals again through E. So we were getting like an 8-ball a day from this guy E through my friend Kay, and every day for a month probably. And we probably got this guy for, I don't know, close to $10,000 over the course of a month. So one day, I come home, I pull in the driveway, and I see E in the driveway yelling at this girl Kay. But he didn't know, he never met me. I dealt with his cousin, and his brother ripped off his brother, and I was ripping off him, but through Kay. So he never met me. He'd seen my face, but that's it. So he's yelling at her, and you know, I'm thinking like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? This is coming to my house. My kids are inside. I had a pistol on me at the time, so I was, you know what I mean, prepared. But you know, I'm not like a violent guy. You know, I shouldn't even been driving around with guns anyway. It was stupid shit. You know, you do dumb things when you're on drugs, but nonetheless, I see him yelling at her, and I'm thinking like, oh fuck, you know what I mean, I'm gonna have to handle this shit. But I get out of the car, and I overhear him yelling at her, saying, I don't care, I'm just trying to find out where you got these from. Just where'd you get them from? I want to meet the guy that gave them to you. Because E knew that Kay wasn't like making these bills. They look so good with strips and watermarks, everything. They look, I mean, you know, and come to find out, he wasn't even really that angry. Even though we got him for like $10,000, you know, he was able to go and re-up and go spend them and whatever. So he was playing a part like he was really pissed. But I think it was mainly out of principle, like, oh, you've been ripping me off. But he really didn't lose any money. So I guess one day it was raining, and he had one of my hundreds in his pocket, and the bill got wet, and the color shifting makeup that I'd use on the corner for the color shifting ink wiped off because it got wet. So that's how we found out the bills were fake. So, you know, he found out, he came to the house, was yelling at Kay, and I overhear him that he's like, I'm not even mad at you, I'm just trying to find out where you got him from. And I hear that, I walk inside. He didn't say anything to me, because he didn't even know me. You know, a little bit later, Kay walks in the house, and I was like, what the fuck was that about? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me what the fuck did he say, you know what I mean? And she was like, he's not mad, he just wants to meet you. And I was like, you know, at first I was thinking, like, meet me? What do you mean? You told him that I was making them? She's like, no, he just wants to meet the person making them. So, okay, the next day, I go to Kay and I say, give me that dude's number, I'm going to call him. So I call him and I was like, over the phone, we don't talk over the phone. So I was basically just like, hey, I'm the guy that you were talking about yesterday, that you want to meet. So if you want, we can meet up and we can talk some business. Okay, so I go to Montgomery Village, the projects on the south side, meet him. He comes out to my car. Basically, I tell him. At first, he tried to play hard, you know what I mean? Like, motherfucker, you owe me 10 bands or whatever. And I was like, listen, bro, like, you said you wanted to meet me. Here I am. I don't owe you anything. You know, whether Kay got you with my bills or not or whatever, that's not my business. My business is selling counterfeit money. I'm sorry if you were a victim to that, but that's not on me. You know, I don't owe you anything. If you want more of the bills, we can talk business, we can do business, go from here. But I'm not giving you a dime. Although I think we did, I take that back, I think we did settle on, I think I gave him like $1,000 in fake bills for free, just to kind of soften the blow a little bit. Like, you know, here's this as like a, you know, a little cushion. You know, sorry that you know, got fucked over by my bills, but really I don't owe you anything, bro. It's like, it is what it is. But here's $1,000 to start off a good business relationship. And, you know, it's hard to remember exactly his reaction to stuff, but he was basically fine with that. And, of course, at first he was like, man, get me $1 million worth. And I had to explain to him, like, listen, bro, I'm not just pressing print on a computer and I've got money now. I kind of explained the process and the fact that I've got to find this specialty paper. You know, it's a process to print both sides, and I have to spray them and glue them and squeegee them together and line everything up. And I was like, it's a process to make these bills. Now, with that being said, I mean, if you want 5,000, if you want 10,000, maybe even 15 or 20, you know, that's reasonable and we can do business. But if you're expecting me to show up at your doorstep with a duffel bag with $1 million in it in a couple days, I was like, that's just not going to happen. I don't have that much paper. It takes a long time to make that much, but, you know, next time you go up to Cleveland to re-up or whatever, you know, give me a week's notice. Tell me, I'm going to Cleveland in a week. I need 10 bands next week, and I can have that for you. So we started doing this. And he also would accept my counterfeit bills for his heroin still, because I was, you know, still a drug addict at this point. So if I needed some dope, you know, I could basically give him like 4 fake $100 bills for a gram of dope. So it was good for both of us, because it was free dope for me, because I'm giving him fake money. But he's getting $400 for every gram he sells, that he's probably getting it for $20 up in Cleveland, you know, because he's buying a brick at a time or whatever, cutting it, whatever. So it's a good deal for both of us. So we start having this relationship, getting heroin from him, giving him counterfeit money, he's paying me, I'm paying him, everything, you know, we're making money together, it's all good. And this went on for probably about 6 or 8 months with this guy E. And eventually I kind of was honest with him about ripping off his brother, and he just laughed at it like, haha, you know, whatever. But we had a pretty good business relationship, and I'd drive him up to Cleveland so he could do his thing up there, and I'd break bills, and, you know what I'm saying, we had this system until eventually one day we were supposed to go up to Cleveland together, and I get my wife and I are driving, and I get pulled over. I had a warrant out of Blount County for a failure to appear. It was just some, like, I got pulled over, didn't have, like, proof of insurance on me or something, and then just blew off the court date. They put out a warrant for a failure to appear. So we're supposed to go to Cleveland together. I get arrested on this petty bullshit charge. But I was in Knox County when I got arrested out of a warrant out of Blount County. So I couldn't just go to jail and bond right out because it was out of a different county. So basically I had to, and this was like late Friday night, so I had to wait a day or two until Blount County came and picked me up to take me to Blount County, and then I bonded right out. But at that point, E already went up to Cleveland without me, which was fine. Basically, yeah, that was his trip up to Cleveland was the time that he got pulled over and arrested with a bunch of my money, or it was a bunch of his real money too. But he had whatever it was, like $3 or $4 grand of my bills on him, and that was the whole, start of the. The sting, or whatever you want to call it, to arrest me. He eventually brought the Secret Service down from Cleveland, tried to set me up. So when he came down to set me up, I got tipped off, and I left and was hiding at hotels, but where I fucked up was he called me and I fucking answered the phone, which I, obviously shouldn't have. Looking back at it, that was so fucking stupid. I shouldn't even have answered, but either way, he called me. He was asking me to get him 700 grams of heroin through some of my other connections to supply him. And, as soon as he asked me that, I was like, man, we don't talk over the phone about grams. And you're asking me for 700 of them over the phone after I know you just got out of jail. I was like, oh my God. As soon as he asked for that, I was like, I shouldn't even answer the phone. I knew the feds were listening to that phone conversation as soon as he asked me for that. So basically all I did at that point was deny him. I'd be like, what do you mean, bro? I don't sell drugs. You're the drug dealer. Why are you asking me for that? I gotta go. Goodbye. Hang up. But of course they triangulated my location through my cell phone and raided my hotel room shortly thereafter. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to post I've got the interrogation tapes of him, when the Secret Service was talking to him up in Cleveland, and I've got the discs, the audio tapes of that in my Discovery. So as soon as I find that CD-ROM drive, I'll upload those audio tapes, and I'll post a video of what he had to say about the whole operation. I'll see y'all later.